We are the Institute for Intuitive Intelligence, revolutionizing intuition by training spiritually fierce women globally as qualified intuitive guides. Subscribe for the leading research and teachings on the conversation of intuition development. Hello, dear beloveds. It is my absolute privilege to be here with you today, and I've just been going live in my community, I'm Spiritually Fierce, as we wrap up a 4-day challenge to get more intimate and connected to the archetypal energy patterns of the priestess, mystic, leader. And I've shared a little bit about my understanding of these 3 sacred archetypes a few days ago on this page. And I want to go a little bit deeper today into how we establish a connection with that archetypal energy in our daily lives and what that actually means, because I think there's a lot of ideas in our contemporary spiritual world that don't actually contribute to much change. They might make us feel a bit special or, I don't know where I went. Oh, sorry, dear ones. I don't know what happened there. Little glitch in the matrix, but I am back. So I guess I want to demystify the way that we can work with archetypal energy and particularly this idea of channeling. I'm just going to turn my heater off because I'm getting nice and warm. So when we learn about channeling in the Institute, we are not trying to do something that is lofty or noble or difficult or that only a few people can do, or that is about, accessing knowledge that nobody else has and could never possibly get. What channeling is for me is a way for us to attune to the highest possible vibrational frequency that we're able to hold at any given time. And the more we hand ourselves over via channeling, via our devotion, via any of our tools to elevate our vibration, the easier it is for that elevated frequency to communicate back with us. So when we stop thinking in terms of separation and isolation, and I am over here, just one little human doing my thing, and we actually open to a grander vision, which is that we are one, and we're one with the one mind. And within that one mind, all time and space is one. So everything that ever was and everything that ever will be exists now. And that's why there are people who channel Jesus or Mary or, Buddha or, great deceased leaders or any of that, because those archetypal energies that are represented by those figures, historical or mythological or whatever it is, exist in the field of the one mind, and all is one. So we are one with that one mind. We are not separate from it. The idea can be understood through the holograph, that within a holographic image, all parts contain the whole. So the entire image is contained, no matter how fine or how far down you go in terms of cutting down that image, it will still contain the whole image, even in the tiny fragment. And so it goes with us. We are not a drop in the ocean, we are a single ocean in the drop, so says Rumi, and we are the complete ocean in the drop, and so we contain everything within us. So when I channel or connect into the energy of Jesus or Mary or anything else, I'm tuning into that part of me. I am contained within that, and that is contained within me. I'm not going out there to find something, but I am elevating my frequency. I'm shifting my vibration higher and lighter to that state of being in which those energies exist most readily. So when I'm low and slow and heavy and angry, or I've eaten too much of the wrong kind of food, or I'm filling my body with mind-altering substances, or I'm full of rage or anger, I'm denser, I'm more concretized, and it's much harder for me to access those high and light vibrations. Now, it's completely okay. We're human. We're going to have days where we feel heavy and slow and low. But is our devotion, is our commitment to showing up to our practices giving us that opportunity to make a love dominant rather than fear dominant program. And that's what it ultimately means. Not I always have to be happy and on and high and light, but actually I am able to sit in the darkness and in the shadows and transmute that energy with ease and grace, because I know that ultimately my commitment to holding those high and light vibrations means that I can transmute much more readily and quickly. So as I move into the higher and lighter states of being, I can access that one mind and all the wisdom it contains with so much more ease and grace. And that is my function. That's my purpose with this life. So it's a truly wonderful thing to open to channel beyond all those kinds of trinkets and superstitions, beyond all those ideas of some special person gets to channel that energy and nobody else does. We are all one. We all have that capacity. And when I channel, I'm simply saying, use me. Let me be the highest possible vibration that I can hold right now, and let my life be a commitment to increasing the possibility of the lightness of my being, so that I may go further and deeper into communing with that one mind, remove all the blocks and obstacles between me and being in communion with that one mind at all times. And that is truly what it is to channel, to align to the highest possible vibration that we can in any given moment. And that might then be shared through spoken word or through energetic transmission. But that isn't the requirement. It's simply to allow ourselves to be entrained to the highest possible vibration. When I speak about channeling, I know that the information that I receive in that space and time will always be in regards to the soul level of my being. Channeling isn't going to an intuitive or a psychic and asking them to draw cards to tell you who to marry or where to live or what to buy, but it is about remembering our soul or God nature and going towards that with the fullness of our being. And so I want to share some channeling with you today in order to help normalize it for you. I've just been sharing in the I Am Spiritually Fierce community that my hope is that, we could be sitting at the boardroom, in a company meeting and say, look, I'm just going to tune into my highest possible vibration to see if there's some wisdom to be shared here. And for that to be completely normal, that we are affirming our connection to that one mind, and that we are going with what quantum physics has been telling us for over 100 years now, that we are part of a unified field of consciousness. And that unification of consciousness is how we heal those places of us that are sitting in that low and slow vibration. So the more opportunity that we have to attune to these higher and lighter frequencies, the more we train our consciousness to become familiar with that and to more readily live in that state of being all of the time. So it isn't oh my gosh, this takes heaps of effort and I have to close my eyes and I have to prepare myself for days, and I can really just live in a state of being that is congruent with that vibration. So I would love to demonstrate a little if you are interested. And we can do that in a couple of ways. I'm not sure how many people are here, but if you have a area of your life or a question or a subject that you would like some guidance on, please drop it into the comments and I'm very happy to respond to that. And I'll give it a few moments to see if there are any comments or inquiries. Otherwise, I will just tune in and see what energy is available to us. And one of the things that I like to do is to not work with personalities too much, or guises or identities, although that does happen from time to time. And what I mean by that is, instead of saying Jesus, I might say the healer archetype or the leader archetype. Instead of saying, Mary, I might say, the mother, the divine mother archetype. And that way we are opening the conversation beyond religion and beyond man-made mythology and ideologies to really get attuned to that frequency, which is pure vibration. Everything is but a vibration, and anything else is simply a human projection. But sometimes that human projection can help us get more intimate with it. So I'm very, very happy to, mention if I feel that there is a particular archetypal personality associated with the archetype, but it's not essential. Yes, it would be amazing if everyone did this. Yeah, okay, I'm going to attune to my highest form of intelligence, my highest vibration, the wisest part of me before I make any decisions and before I go around in my life and in the world. So I'll just give it another moment and see if anyone has a question or an area they'd like to be addressed. And if not, as I say, I'll just see what's here for all of us. No doubt the energy is intelligent enough to know exactly what those who watch now and those who watch back later will best or most powerfully receive. But I do want to be of service if there's something I can particularly serve you around today. We might start with just attuning to what is here. And if you invoke my name often enough, dear one, I will arrive. And this is my beloved brother, Jesus. And Jesus as an archetypal energy is the healer and the leader. And particularly for me, in my connection to that archetypal energy, I feel it is very much that leader energy, that compassionate leader, that forgiving leader, that leader who is committed to the resurrection. And yes, that energy is laughing a little because here in Australia, we're on the precipice of Good Friday, which is the, it's a Christian holiday. It's a very big holiday here in Australia, but that day of Good Friday is, if you're not familiar with Christian mythology, and I use that word quite intentionally, is the day of the crucifixion, and Sunday is the day of the resurrection. And so we will spend a little time with that archetypal energy of Jesus as leader, or leader as Jesus. And that compassion is just pouring forward and just bathing every one of us. And that really is the energy that is so identified for me with the Jesus archetype, and that sense of I am not afraid for you, and I witness you just as you are, outside of judgment. I have no judgment of you. And for a man historically who was so harshly judged and suffered such a harsh crime for being judged, it is a remarkable gift to receive that level of compassion and non-judgment from that energy. But that really is what the sacred leader is to me, is that I am not afraid for you. I create the space for you to remember your divine truth, your holy truth. And here we will let Jesus speak directly, that archetypal energy of the sacred leader. If Jesus isn't something that's comfortable for you as an idea because you maybe have been raised in Christian mythology, or you are not raised in Christian mythology, please just know we're speaking with one of the most profound leaders of human consciousness, human evolution. Do not be afraid of the pain. That resistance to pain causes the suffering, not the pain itself. And your great scientists are sharing this now in all their wisdom of the way the brain works and the response to trauma, and the understanding of how we can release suffering from our bodies at will if we are taught to do so. That technology, that knowledge is landing now in a big way, and it is available to all of us. So do not fear the crucifixion. Do not fear whatever it is. Your journey into wholeness and holiness may come through the suffering story. And that is not something to doubt or push away. For the release of judgment releases the idea of good or bad, holy or unholy, in all ways. And when you are suffering, you are in judgment. This should not be this way. I should not have received this. I'm a good person, or that person should not be suffering. Whatever the judgment is, there is no requirement for suffering in order to awaken. But your perception of this makes you believe that what I'm saying is that nothing will ever happen to you that will cause you any feelings of distress or suffering. It is not about that. It is the shift of perception. The crucifixion and the resurrection are symbols of an ideology, a way of awakening in which we put down our perception of the suffering world. The crucifixion and the resurrection work together to support us to move from the belief that suffering is real to the understanding that nothing is real, that it did not happen, that the separation from God never occurred, therefore I cannot be in suffering, that nothing can have gone wrong. Now, you will perhaps accuse me of bypassing your experience, and this language is very common in the world today, and yet I see many people arguing for their littleness, many people arguing to hold on to their suffering, even though the technology of your body will now show you how to alleviate the suffering pain very, very rapidly, because it is meant to be this way. That is the way you were designed intentionally. Let us sit with that idea that suffering is in perception, not in experience. And that our experience, if we choose to elevate it to the highest level of consciousness in any moment, will be able to perceive a different reality without changing anything in the physical environment. The resurrection is the opening of the inner eye, that opening to that symbolic sight, that awareness of the truth of everything is energy, is consciousness, as you would describe it. The truth is everything is one with the one mind, with the God, Father, Mother, Earth, the love, the sacredness, the holiness, the source, the spirit, whatever name you give it. You are one with that energy that you seek, and yet you must seek within. And that is the opening of the inner eye. That is the gesture. The opening to the symbolic meaning of your life events is the end of the cause of suffering. Yes, the resurrection comes when we see the symbolic meaning of our suffering. This is the return to holiness, the return to love that we are all advocating for. And that is why I'm here in my service to all planetary consciousness, is to remember not the obsession with the suffering, which is what has happened in Western stories of the ideal of the crucifixion. I hang above your altars in your churches suffering. Instead, to focus on the resurrection, that reclamation of the inner eye, the inner sight, the awakening to the one mind, to see God where others see only suffering, to see truth where others are in darkness. That is my service. That is my leadership. That is what you may offer by being willing to open to what this one calls your intuitive intelligence, your intuition, these deep states of intuition are the reclamation of the resurrection and the ending of the crucifixion suffering story. That is how we change reality for all. So Louisa has asked to learn more about connecting with your intuition and guides. Well, you're in the right place. And everything that has been shared here, I hope, will be a great balm to you and an understanding that you are the container of the entire consciousness of everything. And therefore, whatever it is that you want to draw out of you, you simply must go within to allow that space to happen. The stillness, the silence, the solitude, the withdrawing your attention from the superficial local world, from the dominant senses, and going within to the world within the world. That is the antidote to any confusion or doubt around, is my intuition right? Can I trust it? Is it strong enough? We must create the conditions through our biology, through our physiology, to receive our intuition, to calm our nervous system, to regulate it. As Jesus so beautifully said, this is the technology. This is the technology. This sacred vehicle is the technology. And yet we often distress it, exhaust it, intoxicate it, harm it, overload it, and then say, okay, I'm ready, share my intuition with me. And the more we understand how sacred this temple is, the more we will protect it as a way to protect our relationship with that deep intuitive knowing. Above and beyond all of that, commitment to living in congruence through devotion to your practices, to becoming the clearest vessel. These are the ways that our intuition flourishes, and it has nothing to do with buying a crystal or seeing a healer or lying on a bed underneath a light. Don't participate in the dream in order to transcend the dream. It really is just foolish thinking to think we can use the dream other than a way to agitate us to awaken. There is nothing in the dream that is greater than your commitment to go within and to meet yourself there in the fullness of what you are, which is God, which is the one mind, which is infinite and unlimited. And that is what the resurrection means. It's that acceptance of the truth of what we are and the willingness to live from that truth. Thank you, dear beloveds, for joining me here today. If you have any more questions, please just add them here and I'll do my very best to answer them. It is my privilege, as always, to serve you. Have a beautiful day and happy Easter if that's a holiday you celebrate. Or I hope you get some downtime, get closer to your God nature. Oh, doesn't want to go off, wants to hang out now. We'll just hang out forever. Always to serve you.